Welcome to Freedom Writers Book Reading Club. I am Empress Shea Marie Bay. I thank you all for joining us today. Today we're going to be resuming from our last book club reading, which we had a while ago. We're getting back into the swing of things, thankfully. And so we left off reading Correct Your Political Status book. And we pretty much got through majority of the book. A lot of it is basically coming with instructions and details and forms and things like that we'll actually have to start filling out, and we'll actually work together to get this done. I may have to implement another day where we come together and go through these forms. The website, I'd never put it in the chat like I said that I would, but I did pull it up for us today. So this website actually has a lot of the forms and things of that nature that we'll have to fill out, such as the UCC1, deed of reconveyance form, certificate of assumed name. There's a lot of things that we'll have to go through. So most of us have already kind of started this as far as actually changing or claiming our nationality as a Moor. So we're kind of already on the right track. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. Hold on one moment. Okay, so this is the website that the book references. Now the link is a little bit different inside the book. So I think this link has been updated. And then it's saying right here, so I just put that link in the chat, by the way, so you guys can take a look at it and make sure you put it in your notes and everything. It was saying on this page here that there's a new streamlined process. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know if you watched our last, or if you were on our last book reading club, and I played a video from a brother, Brother Bruce Noble L, who's basically very knowledgeable about these processes and about becoming knowledgeable and getting comprehension on all of these processes. And because that's basically the number one thing, is making sure that we comprehend, because they've really screwed up the language. The language is, it's all legalese. And so this is why we don't really understand and understand the laws and things like that. So with this comes a lot of studying and a lot of getting to know the history and memorizing terms and definitions, knowing the difference in the definitions of words, because a lot of words have multiple definitions. So you have to know how to apply them personally to your life. You have to be very, very cautious of these words when we're dealing with the government, or dealing outside in the public with anything, when we're out doing commerce and business, because basically everything that we do in life is commerce. So this gentleman that I'm referring to, that's this. Well, I'm understanding that a lot of the processes are kind of up to date. Most of everything is done electronically. There's a lot of things that we don't know as far as about filing taxes. We've been taught how to file taxes wrong. There's kind of two sides to the IRS. And when we're filing our taxes, it's supposed to be like a daily thing that we're doing in order to be able to discharge our debts. Our debts are those things that, you know, we get presentments in the mail, or when we, such as a utility bill or water, you know, a utility bill, or you know, a mortgage, you know, note in the mail, or a car note. Those things that we get, those are basically presentments for us to be able to discharge. We've been doing it wrong and actually sending in Federal Reserve notes, or sending in checks off of our bank accounts and things like that. We've just been really going about life the wrong way, because this is what we were taught to do. We were basically taught wrong. So a lot of it has to do with first, definitely filing your UCC-1, your financial statement, and things like that. Definitely you want to claim your name. But a lot of the process is kind of different. And I think this is why a lot of people because they just haven't figured it out. But this gentleman, he's almost like a genius. He's actually figured out the way to be able to discharge all of your debts and be able to just keep the money that we generate, the cash flow that because it's not, well, it's not really money. Well, I'll say it's money, it's not currency. So the fiat that we generate, you know, we can do more with it, be able to accumulate more assets with it, and live our lives the way we were meant to live without having to worry about bills. So this says here, new streamlined process, one-page declaration, the 1779 Naturalization Act. In July of 1779, the founders faced the problem how to identify Americans versus Brits and Dutches and Swedes and others nationalities living here in this country. The 1779 Naturalization Act was the answer. It was a very simple requirement by which our forefathers identified themselves as Americans and not Brits and not French and not Dutch, or any of the other options that were available in colonial America. We have been facing a similar problem today in that our federal subtractors have proliferated and promoted their citizenships as separate political statuses, and have created false registrations and territorial U.S. citizens and municipal citizens of the United States in our names without our knowledge or consent. Once again, we need to declare our political status as Americans. So we use the 1779 Naturalization Act, and we provide some necessary updates by which Americans, both those born within the physical borders of the states and those who have been naturalized as United States citizens, may establish and or re-verify their political status via recording their declaration with their state assemblies. Today, we have released a one-page declaration for all those born within the borders of the United States and are marking it available to all the state assemblies. This one page adequately replaces all the intricate and cumbersome and expensive process 928 paperwork that the pioneers had to go through. And as the state assembly does the recording and verification of identities, there will no longer be any need to argue with or pay any state officials or recording services. It has been recommended that each state assembly adopt a simple fee for service, and also establish a waiver so that those who are truly poor and are able to record their declaration and obtain their ID cards for free. This also means that you are coming home You will need to contact your state assembly and check in by signing the one-page declaration and providing providing them with birth records and 2 witness testimonies affirming your identity and the place where you were born. This will also enable you to obtain a state issued travel ID and private property plates for your car and other products that you may wish to have as educational aids for others. So once again, run, don't walk, the AmericanStateAssembly.net. So that's this website that we're on. Okay. So the site that I typed in is different than the one that's here. Okay. The new one-page declaration and simple instructions should be available soon from your state coordinator. This is especially good for good news for all the free friends and family members who watched you slog through the 928 process. So apparently, there's 2 sites. I'm going to do more studying about this and get more information in regards to this site, but I just wanted to show you guys this. I'll put this link in the chat as well. I just want to show you guys this because this is where we basically left off on our last gathering for book club reading. Well, we're gonna basically correct your political status on hold until I can. Before I go any further, I wanted to say this because I watched Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey last night, and I want to get you guys' thoughts about this. And he was saying that there's really no need at this point if you haven't corrected your status or claimed the straw man, took over the straw man, that is basically not necessary to do at this point because everything's going to be basically coming down in the next couple of months to the next year. So I want to know you guys' thoughts on that. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's something? I still feel like it's important because we still are suffering with bills and things like that, that if we can put this information together and get an understanding of it, if we can do that together and kind of get us all some remedies where we don't have to worry about, bills and stuff like that, or getting kicked out of our houses, and also, the FEMA camp issues and all of that, because we really don't know what's happening, even though Taj Tariq Bey was kind of reassuring us on the video last night that a lot of things are getting ready to take place that are going to be beneficial to us. I highly recommend you guys go watch that House of Reawakening Minds from last night, because it was a 3-hour long video, but it was very informative. He was asking questions from the chat that a lot of people had concerns about, and putting a lot of false claims and false information. He was just basically clearing up all of the negative rumors and things like that have been out about the Moors, and basically just saying that how we still need to become knowledgeable about what's going on. But to my understanding, what I heard him say was that it's not even necessarily necessary to basically capture the straw man at this point. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? I'm gonna push mute.
Islam.
Grand rising to everyone and everybody that's on the call. Well, Mother Shay Marie, you pretty much know how I feel about that. I think we should still continue to do the work, and if the deadline is met with the Nasara Jazara, and then fine. But I think personally, yes, we should still, continue to educate ourselves and keep moving forward. I yield.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Islam. This is
Islam.
Mother Michelle. Okay. So lately I've been, checking out like the chatter, and when I go to other places, I don't ever say, I just stop and I just listen to what's being said. Because a lot of the times, when I use my straw woman, they don't know what race I am because you can't tell. So I'll just sometime pop in, listen to what's being said, and so forth and so forth. And yeah, you might want to show up to Show Grow and Know because they have recipes for people. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll be there.
oh, believe me, I gathered a lot this week, and I'm like, holy crap. So what I've been hearing is that overseas, this Jasara has already started, and I have been trying to get some like images and stuff, because I guess people are already holding up Jasara banners and they're taking them down really quick. And they're saying that the leaders who don't want to get on board with this, that's why you have all that looting and rioting, because people already know it's started. They said America is like the last holdout, which is why they're working so hard to take us down, because we're the last bastion of like true, quote unquote freedom. And basically our battle is against people who don't want to see that happen, because America is so greedy and we have such evil entities that sold our country out, that they're really trying not to have that, because they literally want to turn us into a slave nation. And we're fighting that, which is why it hasn't been implemented. But behind the scenes, from what I'm understanding, a lot of things are being put in place, because we're not the holdouts, but we're the ones that's got the most like evil entities over here. You know what I mean? Which is why it hasn't been implemented. But I think we should still, do, what we need to do. I still think we should learn what we need to learn and still go forth until it's time. I think that, but I really feel it's going to be soon. I really feel it's like one of them gut feelings, like with everything, with like everything that I've been feeling. I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen soon, because things are getting so bad here that something's gonna have to give. And I got a feeling that when it finally does give, and when it finally does, I hate to say it, but some things need to be broken so you can build them up again. And we're getting to that point. And again, I've been trying to find images, but for what I'm understanding, people are flying banners and they're like, yay. So we're yeah. And of course they're taking them down real quick because we don't have it fully implemented here yet. I mean, just so you know, like for instance, like they were saying that the Federal Reserve and IRS have been absolved, and now it's all under the banner of the U.S. Treasury. And if you go and ask Siri who owns the U.S. Treasury, she'll say Donald Trump. I mean, Alexa. Alexa. Yeah, Alexa, so she knows. And if you ask her who's the current president, she'll tell you who it is. So anyway, and it ain't Biden. Anyway, so I got a feeling that it's getting to a boiling point here. That something is coming, and it's going to be coming soon. It's going to be coming soon. But in the meantime, until that's, gets noted, then yeah, we still do what we need to do, because even afterwards, even after it's done, there's still the whole thing of, okay, I understand you got this, but this is still not your land.
Right.
this still doesn't belong to you. And, you know, we still need to go forth and start claiming this out.
I agree.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, from what I understand what you said, you know, they each got to go back to their country of origin. With so certain people that might be take it behind back to the Caucasus Mountains. I'm sorry, you know, go back to that cave where you came from. This is still not yours.
Mhm.
So, you know, so we still gonna have work to do even after it's implemented. We still gonna.
Yeah, because Taj Tariq Bey was saying, which is true, and it kind of made me feel like, okay, um, maybe we should or maybe we shouldn't, but at the same time, our people need some remedy now. And the gentleman that I'm following and learning from kind of, I believe he's discovered the actual way, like I said, where we can discharge our debts. And he was saying the way he's explaining it, the way I'm understanding it from him is like, there's a way, because let me go back. Taj Tariq Bey was saying fiat is not currency and neither is credit. Credit is not money, which we all know. And we've been talking about playing the rules of the game. Wait. We've been talking about playing the rules of the game, and beating them at their own game and, basically turning, reclaiming our straw man, capturing our straw man and, becoming the secure party creditor, which puts us in the private and will allow us to be able to discharge debts versus having to, pay them with the fiat. So,
Can I say, can I just make a note for that one? Because everything that he was talking in this book, I did 10 years ago. And, and I got the forms and I did my trademark copyrighted of my name. I did the straw man. I, went and I got the seal, I got this, I can show it to you. I got the seal from New York State, the Secretary of State of New York. And I sent in all those things. And here's what I learned. They can choose to ignore it. So even though, yes, it is a solution, and I guess it depends on what state you're in, because they can choose to ignore it. And so basically, it's more important also to know what's going to be your thing if you like, for instance, if they decide they want to turn off your lights, you know what I mean, until they get the fiat, because a lot of the times these companies know what it is that you're sending in.
Right. Well, this is what I was talking about, because the young gentleman is teaching. He has an OnlyFans thing. So eventually when I get some more funds, it's $50 a month. I want to be able to pay for that and be able to get this knowledge from him. A lot of information he puts out in the public, but kind of step by step and really showing you what needs to be done that is like a paid membership that he has. So basically what he's saying is that because, okay, you filed all of your paperwork, you've sent it in, you've put it on record. However, that's not where things stop. You have to have a trust, you have to have a IEN, you have to have be able
and
to.
that's what right. And I was gonna say, like, once we, get our trust and then put everything under the trust, that would be so much better, because when I went out to do all this stuff on my own, I mean, with as much money as it cost me to try to go after everybody, I might as well just have paid my bill.
Right.
So right.
That's
so
what I'm
then
saying. You have to have a trust, put all of your property to basically protect your assets, which you are your asset as well, or your name is an asset. So you put everything under a trust. And I believe it's an irrevocable trust. Once you do that, you have to go and claim the, you have to have an IEN number. You have to still get I believe you need a Duns and Bradstreet number. Then you're gonna get an account with the TA, the Treasury Direct people. So that all has to do with, you know, your trust. And then you'll be able to do business on the other side of the IRS, where what, to my understanding, what he's saying is like on a daily basis, we're basically like getting credit cards, because the credit is the money, you guys, and this is what we're not understanding. Credit is what the money is, period. Because they're not, when the bank loans out money, they're not loaning out their money, they're loaning out credit, which is just numbers on the screen. So the process is for us to do this discharging process, where we're discharging it in the private with the IRS. And it's supposed to be a way you can do it online on a daily basis, is what he's saying. Like, we can actually go and spend the credit cards and come back and file what we spent on the credit cards with the IRS for them to discharge it, because that's really what the IRS is supposed to be doing, just discharging our debts. But we're just doing everything wrong. We're filing tax returns and stuff like that, and that's only like it's only a small percentage of what we're supposed to be getting back in the first place when we do file tax returns. So we're on the wrong side of the IRS when we're doing business with them like that, because we're not required to file tax returns. We're not required to pay taxes. They're supposed to be paying taxes to us, but the IRS works right alongside with the Federal Reserve and the IMF to be able to discharge our debts, period. And so this is the process that a lot of people have been shying away from because they don't know how to do it. And I that just really just came to me and through my intuition, that are a lot of the reasons why people are saying, yeah, you can get remedy, it's difficult, things like that, is because they've been doing the processes wrong. Oh, and because a lot of this information that we're learning is outdated information, most definitely. You know, as the years have went by, you know, these people have caught on to, okay, yeah, we're learning, we're waking up, so they of course are going to try to change it, but they're going to try to change the process to make it harder for us, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It's up to us to study and show ourselves approved, as always, and get down to the nitty-gritty of it. And this gentleman that I'm telling you, he's doing the doggone thing, y'all. Let me show you his Facebook. He has his passport. He has everything. He's captured his name. He has his trust. I'm gonna show you guys some of the things that he's doing where it just looks so professional. Like, he's putting together his ID. So this is his secure party ID, and basically his passport. This says the secure party creditor whose name appears on the reverse side of this card has filed public notice of superior lien, and by evidence of that filing hereon has taken commercial control of the commercial transmitting utility debtor and the estate known by his name, which is copyrighted, and all property of said debtor estate. The secure party creditor holds superior claims, security, interest, and lien on all property of debtor estate. And I don't know, I can't see that. The droits double rights as a matter of all right to all property, rights, titles, and interests above all others, and including the state. Furthermore, the forms and jurisdictions per the intent of the state. Furthermore, oh, wait a minute. JHR 192, Public Law 95, 147, 9 Statute 127, UCC 104, via 31. So anyways, you guys, so I just wanted to show you, and he has his stamp. If you guys are on Facebook, I highly recommend you go and start following him, and just reading some of the stuff. He has a 5-hour video that he just put out that I was like, wow. This 5-hour video basically broke down a lot about what I was just telling you guys about, as far as how we're on the wrong side of the IRS, and he's basically breaking it down. So let me see. This video is from last week sometime. I actually recorded a little bit of it on my phone. I definitely want to share it with you all. See, he has, what is this? These are his cards. The star is on this card. This is his passport book, I believe. It's just so professional, and just like everything he's doing, he spends his time every day, like really trying to learn this stuff and learn how to do it in this new age and time, because everything is basically electronic. Where is this video at? I know it's not this far back. Might have took it down. August 1st. Yeah, I think he took it down, y'all. He just lost his cousin a couple of days ago, so send him love. They murdered his cousin. So I think he took the video down. But I did record some of it on my phone, so I will post some of that in the chat. You guys can watch that on your own time. Some of what he was talking about on that video, because it's very, very deep. He's breaking down a lot of terms that we don't understand and stuff like that. So his name is on Facebook is Noble L. Bruce Jr. I highly recommend you guys go and follow him, friend him if you're on Facebook. I know a lot of people say they don't have Facebook, they don't like Facebook, but if you use it for the right things, you don't have to worry about all of the other negativity that does come out of it. So it's all about the way you use it, in my opinion, but it's all up to you. I'm gonna put this in the chat so you can go follow him. This is his link to his page. But with that, other than that, Mother Mia, what did you think about that? You guys there?
Oh, yeah, Mother.
Oh, okay. Peace, Mother. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm sorry, Mother. My sometime if it's on 2G, it won't come back on until I switch it to 5G. I apologize.
Oh, no problem.
I had to switch it over. I'm sorry. So, you know, and I totally agree, because especially if he's got the passport and he's able to, travel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know that, and that was good because he got a lot further than what I got, because I was trying to, look for all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I was going to say is, and right now I'm kind of like, yes and no, only because like I just did something over the last week that I heard, and I said, well, let me try this. And it has to do like with my student loans. So I was getting all these things saying, you owe us, you owe us, you owe us. And now knowing that, one of the things I'm noticing that's starting to be implemented within the SAR is they're saying that, a lot of people don't know this, is that if you challenge the mortgage bill or whatever, they'll take it off your credit report. So I did that with my student loan. And I said, I believe Navient is committing fraud. They didn't loan me anything. I don't owe them anything. And based off of this, I feel that they are committed fraud. I want you to investigate and please, contact me back with your findings. And, and all of a sudden I get an alert saying, Navient was removed from your credit report. And it went up 19 points. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. So one part of me is like, okay, so is this a part of, the NESARA that's being, because they're not going to go and tell everybody.
Well,
they're not going to. I'm sorry.
Well, as far as the NESARA thing and that's being removed, I was under the impression that that was like being done. It's like in the testing stage, or they may or may not. Well, you said they've already implemented it in other countries, but in the beginning they were in the testing stage. But the process that you just did is something that I've been hearing from people that do credit repair and stuff like that. So I think that's what the letter that you did was basically, I can't remember the name of it because I just tried to look it up the other day too.
And the key word you have to put in there is fraud, and say they are committing fraud. That's the key word.
That letter, it's like a creditor letter where you put it, where you're basically telling them that you need them to, because it's actually in this book I was reading, but you need them to show proof that you actually have a contract with them or something like that.
No, you just have to prove like your claim. Like for instance, when I did have my house, they tried to come back to me at the beginning of this year saying you still owe us the remnants of this. And I'm like, I don't owe you anything. So I did that with the house as well, like what they're saying that I owe. And the only thing I did was I took a screenshot of Zillow and said, look, they sold it, blah, 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 blah. And this is how much they got for it. And then I gave them the name to the insurance company. It's like, yeah, call them up. They're the ones that paid them 75% of the house and blah, blah, blah. So I just only sent them screenshots. And when they looked into it, they removed that as well. So right now, the what they're saying that I owe for the rest of the mortgage is gone, and so is the student loan. So I'm like, okay, who else can I say is committing fraud? Well, everybody.
Right, everybody, pretty much.
Everybody is really committing fraud. And then what I noticed, and I know here in New York, we have Niagara Mohawk for our electrical company, and I can't even tell you when was the last time I paid an electric bill and they can't do anything. They can't even, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get one of them shut-off notices soon, pretty soon. I haven't gotten a shut-off notice in 5 months. And I'm like, oh, good grief.
So you haven't been paying your bill?
I haven't paid an electric bill since like February.
Okay. And so the bill is just accruing. Basically.
Right. So what happened is, because normally they can come up to you and say, we're going to shut your electricity off. We can do this, we can do that. And I'm like, okay, well, then that's fine. Go ahead. Because then I'll just go ahead and get one of them vouchers and get it all discounted anyway. But it is kind of, funny because normally after like 2 months, they would have sent like a notice or disconnection notice.
I believe that's because we're under that pandemic too. Because honestly, I told my husband not to pay the bill all last year, but the only thing about it was the bill was in my dad's name, so he had a hissy fit. So I ended up earlier this year having to pay $3,000 to get the bill covered or whatever. Just close the account out in his name and get it in a new account. But we have been paying it now because we just didn't want it. But I was telling him because I was actually in the process of trying to do that accept for value process. But it just didn't work out. I only had like the first stage of it. I was not aware that once they replied back with a rebuttal that I should have sent them another rebuttal. So at that time, it was just a lot of frustration because my dad was on my head. And so I just gave up that process and didn't do it anymore. But now I'm even with the A4V process, he's saying that when we send in when we write that accept for value and stuff like that and sign the back of it, that's not the right process either. We should actually
Okay,
just be
because
able
that's what
to.
I was accepting for value, returning for value under
Right.
House Joint Resolution 192 and the whole nine. And they're like,
Right.
yeah, pay the bill. And this was like,
Right.
like 5 years ago. So then, it was, could they know that if you do try to take them to court, do you have enough money to go ahead and try to take them to court and sue them? So then that's where I was. I'm like, well, with as much money that it's going to take me to file this case against them and then take them to court, they could keep this stretched on forever and still accumulate, bills and everything. So that's when I was like, okay, do I just take this money and try to sue them and probably end up with nothing and losing a lot of money, or do I take the money to pay the bill? And that's what I ended up doing. I was just paying the bills. So yeah, if this is like a better way, he got results from it, I say go for it. I definitely say go for it.
I always felt like that, like they can't shut it off with this pandemic going when people are out of work and not able to work and stuff like that. So, that's how I was just been feeling. But, my husband, he don't like bills to pile up, so he been paying it. So, I mean, it is what it is. But if it were me, I probably wouldn't be paying it either. I feel you.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, from what I heard from the chatter from like the last 2 weeks, when they first did the lockdown, it wasn't for what we think. It was a whole lot of things that they were doing behind the scenes.
Right.
And then from what I was understanding from, these other groups that I just go in and sneak in and just listen, that they're already building those these machines, and people, they look one way on the outside, but what they are free energy machines. And they've been putting them like all over the country. And
they're free energy machines.
Yeah. Wow. But then they're not like what we think they are. And from what I understand, they've been like, when they had us on lockdown, they took that opportunity to try to build these machines, because even here, I'm like, what is that? When we finally did emerge outside, I'm like, okay, what is that? I'm like, it doesn't look like one of those 5G towers. I'm like, what is that? So even then, because they showed us what those 5G machines look like, but this wasn't that. I'm like, so in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, what are they planning on doing? And then when, and the guy that they was talking to, these guys, one of them, a couple of them are military. One was in the Navy and one is in the Army, and they was talking amongst themselves. And the guy that was in the Navy was talking about why all these floodings was happening all over, the world, and what they were doing. And then the Army guy was like, yeah, and basically, when people are locked down, we couldn't have people all over the streets while we're building up these, these things, because we didn't want people to start being nosy, getting around them, or trying to destroy them, So basically, while they were building them, anybody that would come out and take a look at them, they'd be like, okay, who are you? Get away from there, And basically, and a lot of them were being built around like, not power plants, like dams, like around dams, because you can generate a lot of water from that, and electricity from that. And so some of them, and then some of them, they are letting the dams dry up, because these people, I guess, or these companies, were not wanting to get on board with the free energy. And basically they're like, okay, well, if you don't get on board, this is what's going to happen. So then you got Lake Mead that's like almost dry, So it's like, okay, what's going on with Lake Mead? So it's a lot of stuff going on. What they were saying, and so yeah, I believe a lot of stuff is going to be implementing soon, but I think that, until that gets going and stuff, so if he has a way for us to correct our stance and get results, get results because because I did all the A for V, House Source Resolution 192, the whole nine at a 45-degree angle in red.
Right,
Stamp.
right.
Front back, and I get the 2-cent envelopes and,
Right.
stamps and the whole nine, and I'm like, okay, these people ain't listening. So yeah.
Right.
So
I had to go find the register labels, and then they didn't want to give them to me here in the
They wanna
city.
get-
So
nope.
I had to go out in the suburbs, and they just easily gave me a whole roll of them and
A
stuff.
whole roll of them. Yeah, that's what they did here. They gave me a register roll.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a
Yes,
whole
ma'am.
register roll.
Islam.
Yes, I just want to piggyback on what Mother was saying.
Mhm.
By me being a truck driver and I was still out there moving around when everybody was on lockdown, and that is so true. I don't see so many towers go up. A lot of them are being camouflaged to look like trees. I've seen a lot of solar panel sites going up. So yeah, she's very correct about that. It is something going on. I yield.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, because they got them around where I live. Like when we first went on to lockdown here, where I live is they had to do it because where I live up on this one main road is like labeled one of the busiest streets in America, close to where I live. And even if it's not in the city, it's still, because it connects, like, I can't even tell you how many other states. And so they really had to make sure we weren't in the streets. But then when we finally emerged and started driving around, I'm like, whoa, what is that? What is that? That wasn't here before. And it wasn't a 5G tower or anything like that. It was made to, and then what they also did, and I've never seen them put up, like hotels so fast, because they used it to try to, like when we go over the bridge, they used the hotel to like block it. It was just weird how it looked. It almost changed the whole, landscape. And I said, okay, this doesn't look like one of them 5G towers that like I've been seeing around the world. And I'm like, okay, what is that? So yeah, if they're not disguising them as trees, they're like putting buildings next to it to make it seem like, oh, it's for the building, but it really isn't a part of the building. So it was yeah, so I got a feeling those, from what those guys were saying, the one that was in the army anyway, said, yeah, they already, started building like these free energy machines, and that they're going to be implementing them soon. But then they also started talking about the 10 days of darkness, and that when the lights come back on, he said, and the lights will come back on. He's like, but, that it has to happen. The 10 days of darkness has to happen, but it's not going to be a bad thing. He says we're just going to have to get used to doing things differently, when the lights do come back on. So they was dropping a lot of information, and I was just a little fly on the wall in the corner, just listening to everything. I was like, okay, because they're never gonna, tell us,
right.
amongst themselves. And so let me come over here and get in the corner and just listen and hear what they. So basically, that's what they were saying. But I mean, but if
eyes and ears everywhere to keep us.
Oh my God, I get in there. I try to, and I figure, hey, they come into our chats and our groups and listen to what we're talking about.
Right.
So I see it as turnabout as fair play. I'll go and listen to, what they got to say too. I'll listen to their groups, go in, a lot of stuff they talk about, they talk about us too. And some of the stuff they're talking about is they are not, okay, I could say scared because they feel that something, is going to be happening as far as melanated people go. And they didn't want to really talk too much about it, but they know they was like, something, and it has something to do with the sun. That's all I'm going to say. It has a lot to do with, the sun, which is why Bill Gates is trying to block it out. He's not blocking that out to try to stop food or anything, although that may be one thing. But they're saying that like all these, like they said it was seeming like the sun was getting signals from somewhere.
Mhm.
And they said they didn't know where the sun was getting signals from. So it was like something coming towards the sun, like on the left side, coming towards the sun. And then it was like, all of a sudden there was these solar flares. And then they said all of a sudden the sun, they stopped getting the message from wherever. They didn't, say, but then they said the sun then sent the message to, and then he said the sun was quiet, and that scared the hell out of him, because they was like, we've never seen the sun quiet. It always got some kind of little solar flare or something going on, but they
Right.
said it was quiet. And when I say they almost sound like they wanted to poop in their pants, something scared them. They was like, we don't know who sent the sun the signal and who that signal was supposed to be relayed to. And then all of a sudden you started hearing Bill Gates talk about trying to block out the sun. And I was like, I had a feeling it's not what, they were scared. That's all I'm gonna say. They were scared. And I was like, okay, duly noted. Because and something in my spirit is like, no, whatever that signal was, it was fun. So,
It's on.
but they know about it. They're scared. They're scared.
Oh, it's fine.
I don't know if Mother Martin is still on the call, but I wanted to not change the subject, but when you can, go in a little detailed about what she put
Yeah.
about the income tax, because me personally, I haven't paid income tax for about 10 years, and they did put it on my credit report, and all of a sudden it's not there. So if you can, whatever she learned from that video, if she can expound on it a little bit, I yield.
Oh, hello.
Peace and love
I,
to you, brother Larry King Bay. He said he had to go, so I was just saying peace to you, brother.
Oh, okay, mother. No, the reason I had brought that up because when I was stationed in Germany, I think it was back in 2007. I had met this young man. He had told me about it because I had never heard of it, and I think I watched the video, but I didn't finish it, because it was kind of hard back then to, get on the internet or whatever. But he had brought it up to me, and that was my first time, ever hearing it, that we're not supposed to pay taxes. Because I kind of felt that before I had got in contact with him anyway, because I feel like everything that we purchase, we pay taxes on it anyway. So why are we paying taxes every other year or whatever?
Right.
But I
Right.
think the video is still on YouTube, and it kind of broke it down. And it talked about the IRS and how it relates to us as, the people or whatever. And I think, like you said earlier, like you're going about it all wrong. We've been misled on a lot of things,
Right.
and we need to be compensated for what we've lost. So I think the video is still on YouTube. You can check it out. And it also talks about this is during when the Iraq war started or whatever, and it was talking about a lot of those contracting companies, how much a lot of those CEOs were making, and the money that they were making was just astronomical. It was just out of this world, and it was just kind of frustrating to hear what was going on. I can't
Are
think of
you
the name of that.
You talking about the Zeitgeist movie, the Zeitgeist movement video?
The Zeitgeist movie, and no, that one about the taxes, and then it was talking about, it was another video called Iraq for Sale.
Oh wow.
And that one, if I don't know if that video is still up, but if you listen to it, it made me upset because I'm like, this is crazy. How are these people making all this type of money? And then you got people, out here struggling, barely making it. It just opened my eyes up to a lot of things. And that's how my journey started a little bit,
It's right here, y'all. I'm about to put it in the chat.
Appreciate
I'm telling
it,
you, it'll make you upset. Yeah. So Just check
Yes,
it out.
I hear it too. I hear it too. Oh, no, it is. Oh, did you have something you wanted to say, Brother Harris?
Yeah, I was just gonna say again, I felt the same way. You know, why are we paying income tax on our earnings, and everything we do, we're paying taxes, whether it's well, some states as far as food, and then
Right.
they're putting in road taxes on with the gasoline. That's why that can't stabilize. So, you know, I felt the same way. Why, you know, are we paying income tax? So I just stopped, and yeah, I was getting threatened for a minute, but now, like I was saying, it's removed from my credit report, and not that I want to. I haven't heard anything from them, so I yield.
Yeah,
I remember for a minute I didn't file taxes for like 3, 4, 5 years. I didn't, and it never went on my credit report or anything. Like they didn't do anything to me. I guess I was just being lazy. I guess they felt like it was a write-off or whatever, but I went like about 3 to 5 years where I didn't pay taxes either. And
Islam?
yeah.
Yeah, I had got in so bad with them not paying it, and I actually went and got a tax attorney. And actually, what he told me, what the IRS don't get in 10 years, they can't get. But the loophole that they have, they go back. What was it, 2 to 3 years? Now, if you haven't filed the last 3 of the 10, and then they'll pick it back up from there. You know, that's what he had told me. So maybe that's a part of it, you know.
well, lawyers are esquires, and we all should know by now, they're part of the Bar Association. They're part of the Crown. They have nothing to do with us. They're traitors. They committing treason every day upon us by even interacting with us and saying that we have to be represented in court by an attorney or whatever like that. It's all fraud. So
Right.
like that lawyer was probably lying. And the reason why what happens is and everything is biblical, you guys. That's why this book is so good and so like we got to get into it. I'm gonna start reading in a second, but everything is biblical and by numbers and stuff like that. So you know, like that 70 times 7, the number of completion and stuff like that. So you know, like when they say your debts, when you get your when debts are on your credit report, they only supposed to be on it for 7 years, and then it gets discharged because that it's not supposed to be on there anyways. So all of these systems are fraudulent systems at the end of the day. So no, we're not supposed to be paying taxes. And Tasha Bay has said that several times. We definitely should not be paying taxes on our income at all.
There was a senator 2 years ago when they was questioning him about New York and why the taxes of New York are so high, and he let it slip, and he said out of his mouth, paying taxes is an option. I was like, what? Wait, what? And then I'm thinking, okay, if he's saying that paying taxes is an option, I'm like, okay, apparently this senator let it slip. And that's when I think a lot of people heard what he said and started looking for the answer. Like, what does he mean that it's optional? And he's right. He's right. Like what's that one documentary I sent you, Mother Shay, Changes on the Horizon? That goes into the whole and basically even what we've been told about the Titanic is a lie. Because JP Morgan had who was that guy? Oh God, he was another banker, and he told the banker, I think, was it Rockefeller? It was one of them. And basically this other banker, I guess Nikola Tesla, went up to this other banker. It's like, look, back then they wanted to give us free energy back in 1912. And then JP Morgan said, unless we could put a meter on it, we don't want it.
Right.
And the other banker was going to be, like they call it, quote unquote, white hat. And he was very powerful. He was very rich, and he was richer than J.P. Morgan. So he knew that he could make it happen if he followed Nikola Tesla. And basically, J.P. Morgan, the guy that Chase, and they all colluded together to actually have the Titanic sink just to kill that man and his family, so we would not be able to get free energy. It's some craziness. Craziness. So, and then what they told us about the Titanic was fake, was false, was, you know, because JP Morgan decided at the very last minute not to get on the boat. So he knew that the Titanic was going to sink. He knew. He knew. And then they said they held the captain at gunpoint, made him ram his, the boat into
the ice thing.
Yeah. So all that was done on purpose. And the extent, I was like, good googly mo. I'm like, oh my God, the extent. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, and I'm also agreeing with Mother on that too, because about that's when I didn't know no better. So everything that Mother Shay is saying is correct about the taxes. And when I didn't know no better, I was watching one of those senators' committee meetings on TV. And I told Mother Shay about it. We tried to hunt down who she was, but she got right there on TV and said that she don't pay taxes, nor would she ever pay taxes. So then that kind of woke me up. Okay, what does she know that I don't know? So that's really what started me not to pay the income tax, and now more information is coming out about it. I'll yield.
Absolutely. Yep. Thanks for sharing. We're not supposed to pay taxes, you all, so we gotta figure this stuff out. It's better for us to come together, put our brains together, and try to help each other figure all of this out. But I definitely want to get into this book reading. We got about 45 more minutes left for the Zoom session today. I'm going to go ahead and start reading New Beginning Study Course, and we can definitely pick back up on our conversation next time we get together. New Beginning Study Course, Connect the Dots and See by David E. Robinson. I'm starting on page 9 of which is the introduction. It says the purpose of this New Beginning Study Course is to provide you with information and knowledge that you can use. Most of this information is documented. Some of it is theory. Most of it is fact. We live in a world of fiction in the land of Oz, where fact is hard to find. The information contained in this study course will help you see the difference between fiction and fact. This study course is designed to help you realize that we are beings who are free, who can create our world and be responsible for the events that occur in our lives. This is who we can be and who we really are. It is not the purpose of this study course to present unchangeable truth, for each individual is ever changing his world on a daily basis. This information is for you, information you can prove for yourself to enhance your understanding and awareness of events. This information can help you free your mind so that you can create what you need and want. This information will empower you if you want to be empowered, or you can choose to remain in your present state if you wish. This too is okay. It's a choice you have. You are being who is free. Connect the dots and see. Chapter 1, Your New Beginning. This is a new beginning, a fresh look at the world and yourself. Rather than raging at the world you see, it is more important to look at yourself and see how you are meeting the challenges that the world presents. The New Beginning study course is at once commercial, political, secular, and social and spiritual. This is a practicum that's just theory and talk. not just theory and talk. It's a laboratory of ideas and practices that you can test in the world around you today. Along the way, you will discover a wealth of ideas that have always been yours, but you didn't know existed. You didn't know, so you had no right to this wealth. Even if you did know it exists, but do not know how to work it, you have no legitimate rights to this knowledge and wealth. This new beginning study course is a tool you can use to bridge the rivers of deception, illusion, ignorance, and apathy that you might face. This course will aid in opening your eyes, your mind, and your heart to the marvelous gift of being you. The purpose of these lessons is to provide information to those who care enough about the things we face today and will do something about it. This information will help you to see the difference between fact and fiction, the facts of what actually is. These lessons are designed to help you realize that you are free, you are a free being with unlimited potential who can create your own world and be responsible for the things that occur in your life. This is not, this is who you really are. But to the extent that you think you are not responsible for the things that occur in your life, to that degree, you are enslaved by your own rights, by your own thoughts. I'm sorry, guys. Here is a quote that applies to you. Morpheus is talking to Neo for the first time from the movie The Matrix. Morpheus, I imagine right now you feel a bit like Alice tumbling down a rabbit hole. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees and is expecting to wake up. You're here because you know something that you can't explain, but you feel it. There is something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it is there, like a splinter in your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Neo, the Matrix. Morpheus, do you know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or turn on the television set. You feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world of Oz that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth, Neo, that you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into a prison that you cannot see, that you cannot smell, nor taste, nor touch. So this kind of, I'm gonna pause right there. That kind of makes me, though, saying when they say we're born in sin, I think that's what they're meaning when they say we're born as a slave, because we're actually born into debt. So it says a prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can tell you what the matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. Take the blue pill and the story ends. You will wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. Take the red pill and you will stay in Wonderland, in the wondrous land. And I will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, what I'm offering you is the truth, nothing more. Follow me. We do live in such a world, and for anyone who has been involved in the system to any degree in court or with county, city, or national rules and regulations, or a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, you know something is very wrong. You look all about you and see the morals of this country slipping into depravity. Many people, where am I at, are in despair. Nothing seems real anymore. You and we can't put our fingers on the cause. Something is wrong with our world. It bothers us like a splinter in the mind. The book, as with the Matrix itself, will be a life-altering, this book, as with the Matrix itself, will be a life-altering experience for you. You will come to see that we are commercial slaves. This book will show you how we became slaves and how we can free ourselves from this slavery. This will affect everything you think and say and do. This will expose the beast and show you the promised land. The world around you has been designed to distract you from the truth. Throughout the entire lifetime, others have taught you the meanings of words with words. But did you ever take the time to learn the meaning of these words for yourself? This world is filled with symbols whose meanings you do not know or understand. Words taught to you verbally by someone else. Your life is filled with meanings that quite simply are not true. It's a wonder that we can communicate with one another at all. Are you in commerce? One of the main words we wish to define is commerce and its various derivatives. Why? Because we live in a sea of commerce and are controlled by maritime law. We have lived so since our fleshly life here began. Even lawyers, the courts, and law enforcement officers of this nation seem to be blind to the fact that we are controlled by and live in a sea of commerce, or they are trying to deceive us concerning the truth. Each time anyone brings up commerce in the courts, the attorneys and the judges explain, we're not in commerce here. Commerce has nothing to do with this court. We're under statutory law. They appear to be so sincere, so positive. It makes you wonder if they are really ignorant of this fact or if they are intentionally deceiving us as good actors. Whatever the reason, they deny that we are under the jurisdiction of commerce when we are immersed in commerce. Therefore, we must have an understanding of what this means and how it affects us, regardless of the ignorance or the deceit of the courts of law. Commerce, an interchange of goods or commodities, an engagement, sexual intercourse, intellectual or spiritual interchange, communion, merchandise, goods, trade. Commerce, to exchange goods, production, or property of any kind, the buying, selling, and exchanging of articles, intercourse by the way of trade and traffic between different peoples or states and the citizens or inhabitants thereof, including not only the purchase, sale, and exchange of commodities, but also the instrumentalities and agencies by which is promoted and the means and applications by which it is carried on, and the transportation of persons as well as goods, both by land and sea. The term commerce means trade, traffic, commerce, transportation, or communication among the several states. Commerce is dependent upon two related words, value and scarcity. Without these two aspects, commerce falls flat and is unable to function. Create scarcity of anything and its value tends to soar. Decrease scarcity by increasing supply and you decrease value. This is how the power elite control our actions today by controlling scarcity and value in commerce. Scarcity by controlling supply, value by controlling demand. When money is scarce, we fear that we do not have enough money. However, it is the lack of money that we fear, therefore worshiping, giving worth to and value to the God of fear. The derivation of the word worship is to create worth. What part of your life is not affected by commerce? The entire program. This program consists of 8 study issues. Each issue illustrates a single state of your being, where and how and who you are. You and everyone else are in some state of being. There are specific procedures of advancing out of your present state into the next and higher state of being. These procedures are part of every activity and they must be complied with, whether you know or understand them or not. Following these procedures will take the chance out of everything you do, whether in business, personal finance, or in your individual life. The variables are only how well you perceive the situation and how much energy you apply to its practice. The proper application of the procedures work no matter how they are applied, so long as the right procedure is applied in this sequence of steps taken. Knowing the steps carries the responsibility of using them, or chance or fate prevails. Chapter 2, What You See Counts. Explorers were en route to the New World, sailing around the tip of of Africa in massive ships driven by large canvas sails. They anchored their ships at a safe distance offshore and used open long boats to row a small crew ashore. Never having seen white men nor their ships before, the natives asked the men how they arrived in that part of the world. The sailors pointed to the ships anchored offshore with the large white sails. The natives looked in that direction, and no matter how hard the natives tried, they could not see the ships apart from the clouds. The shaman of the tribe began to try something new. In looking at things differently, the image of the ships began to appear in his view. As he began to see things this way, others began to see the ships too. Within a brief period of time, everyone in the tribe could see the ships, even those who were not there to meet the crew as they rowed ashore. Wow. The tribe had learned a new way to see or perceive, and in doing so, extended the boundaries of their world. Elijah prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee open his eyes, that he, his servant, may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round Elijah. 2 Kings 6:17 becomes increasingly important now more than ever that your beliefs be not limited but by what you have been taught. You are learning to trust yourself, your own feelings, and the process of your life. You had something you want to say? You do? Go ahead. Mhm.
In those courts.
Right.
In the middle.
They are active. Yeah. Oh, sorry guys, but my grandmother is sitting here with us as well. In this world, you have choices and free will. Continuing on page 18. You have the opportunity to realize your full potential as a divine expression of your creator, to become a creator yourself by being aware of the power of righteous thoughts. Thoughts are things, not just pictures in your mind or sensations in your body. As you think, you create. Is there ever a time you're not thinking? You are forever creating your experience with your thoughts. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. You do not have to know the intricacies of the mind, only the ability to use them as they are designed. You can just be in the purity of your good intent. This is the beauty of life. You may choose to know more if you wish, or just be in your experience and outcome will remain the same. The ability to create as a child of God is a skill available to everyone. The result of three components of thought. Clarity of thought. For thoughts to become manifest, they must be clear, concise, and sustained. Constantly changing. wavering thoughts are incapable of sustaining a good result. This may appear as a series of incongruent, confusing situations mirroring the blueprints of your mind. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. James 1:8. Duration of thought. While clarity is the key component, unless it is sustained, the seed is not nurtured long enough to develop in soil. Persistence alone wins the prize. Watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. Ephesians 6:18. One moment, guys, got some noise in the background. Okay, my apologies. Intention of thought. Intention is the energy of thought that sustains the seed in the matrix of creation. The seed may dissolve at any point if the energy of intent is cast aside and lost. Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds, for riches are not forever. Meditation and prayer. Meditation, meditate, akin to medius, to heal, to cure, to care, to dwell on anything in thought, to turn over or resolve in creative mind, to plan, to intend, to think on, close, or continued thought. Prayer, contemplation, and utterance, to ponder, to to converse with oneself or with God, to bind, to tie, to wind. Notice the similarities in the two words. Both concern thought. Both describe the action of turning over or winding up thoughts in your mind. To look at a thought from every angle by turning it over in your mind so that you can see it from different points of views until you understand. The difference between prayer and meditation is that meditation offers a silent space in which to hear the higher power ever talking to you. In prayer, you are speaking to God. And in meditation, you are listening to the still small voice of the Holy Spirit. In either circumstance, you are seeking intervention from a higher power into a situation over which you feel powerless. Traditionally, we have been taught to see ourselves as the created, not the creators of what we create. We feel separated from all else, and in that separation, we cannot see or identify with the power that creates. Feeling helpless to address the events that unfold in our lives, things seem to just happen by chance. A fundamental concept shared in the traditions of indigenous people is the idea that the human form is a part of creation, not separate on its own. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. As an integral part of creation, the individual plays an important role in the cause of events within his world. These ancient concepts are just as valid today as they were thousands of years ago. You are always and have always been a part of all that you see. You have the opportunity to plant and nurture your creation according to the thought patterns of the mind. You become the creator of your experience and impact the events in your world. You intervene on your own behalf through your oneness with God, utilizing prayer and directed thought or meditation. To be or not to be, that is the question. The ancient native peoples, such as the Australian Aborigines, the American Indians, manifested their thoughts was by being that which they seek. For example, if they wanted water or rain, they would pray rain, not pray for rain, but they would become the rain in thoughts. Wow. They would taste rain, feel rain, smell rain, hear rain, see rain, to the point that they would become the rain itself. All senses activated in mind create a vacuum, if you will, so that the intended substance can manifest itself. Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things with which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Mark 11:23. A universal principle states that the physical universe cannot sustain a vacuum and will fill a seeming vacuum to balance itself. This is how you utilize the universal principles to your advantage. The experience of each individual affects the whole to a great degree. It is not enough to pray, for example, for peace in the world. Praying for peace in the world may be well intentioned, but the request for peace is in and of itself is incomplete. The highest form of intervention that anyone may offer in a given situation is not to ask for something to be, but rather to see that which is desired. Wow. Speak those things as they are. Yeah. Praying for peace in the world may be well intentioned, but the request for peace in and of itself is incomplete. The highest form of intervention that anyone may offer in a given situation is not to ask for something to be, but rather to see that which is desired. If peace is the desired reality, peace must become the reality in your experience. You must see and become that peace. It takes but few reference points within the whole to change the expression of the whole. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, Abraham, who call of those things that be not as though they were. Romans 4:17. This is the lesson of native Africans and the explorers mentioned at the beginning of this book. Remember, everything that you experience is part of your journey home, your return. Don't be penalized for failing to make a return. Each circumstance that you attract into your experience is the result of the energy you expend to bring healing to life of lack, limitation, want, and woe. Try to become aware of anger, pain, and frustration from this point of view. Each is an expression of fear. Take advantage of opportunities as they cross your path. You are more powerful than any fear that you might entertain. Fear is only a small fragment of your world. Do not conform to duality, ego, or fear. You are an expression of God's love. You are a child of God. I think we got time to read one more chapter, so I'm gonna start with chapter 3. And the next couple of chapters basically breaks down some chronological events. So the chapter 3 is breaking down events happening from 450 to 1748. So we're going to read through these. Commerce is a common thread woven throughout our entire history. The merchant, the money changer, and the law of merchant are all part of laws of commerce, or civil and maritime law. This is not to say that commerce is bad. However, commerce brings with it the laws of commerce, laws that, if not properly understood, can bind you into slavery. This happens only because we agree. Banks create money out of thin air, called credit, and charge the people a profit called interest on the fiat money they create. Merchants who produce nothing at all sell what other people produce at a larger profit than the producer himself receives. This happens only because we agree. Merchants and bakers create laws through lawmakers they control, who protect commerce and bind the people to obey the laws of commerce. This happens only because we agree. This happens because we trust other people to handle our own affairs. This has been happening throughout history. There is a great value looking at the past. The pattern of the past help us solve the puzzles of today so we can better understand what's happening in our domain. A man with a knowledge of history may be said to have lived from the beginning of the world, continually adding to his knowledge in every way. David Hume, London, of the Study of History at page 390, 1898. 450, People's Law. The Anglo-Saxons develop and extend the law of the people. 1066, Ruler's Law. The people's freedom and natural rights are lost when England is conquered by the Normans from Normandy, France, and they become subjects to the law of ruling kings. I have somebody asking me to say Ruler's Law. People's freedom and natural rights are lost when England is conquered by the Normans from Normandy, France, and they become subject to the laws of ruling kings. 1215, Magna Carta. The great struggle, the great struggle to restore freedom begins when King John is forced to sign the Magna Carta that guarantees unalienable rights to the people. The king must obey the Magna Carta as law. 1265, parliamentary power. The principle, no taxation without representation, extends the power of Parliament. All laws now require Parliament's consent, including the ability to impeach the officers of the king. 1721, parliamentary law. A prime minister is chosen to rule the parliament, who chooses a cabinet and appoints the administrative officials with the king's consent. Thus, the British established a republic structure of parliamentary law. 1776, Confederate law. The Articles of Confederation are adopted to provide for individual state law with a committee of the states functioning as a national Congress. 1787, constitutional law. The American founders established a new kind of republic, a system structured on constitutional law. The American colonies gained independence by force of arms and asserted their rights before the world by the Declaration of Independence prior to the Revolutionary War. The Articles of Confederation, 1777, were ratified 4 years later in 1781, and were soon replaced by a totally new system of people's law under the Constitution for the United States, 1787. 4000 BC, a chronological timeline of world events. So what we just read was a chronology of the development of law. So this is a chronological timeline of world events. 4000 BC. Genesis was translated from Sumerian script, unearthed only decades ago in recently discovered Nineveh and other areas of the Tigris-Euphrates area of the Middle East. These ancient scripts on baked clay tablets date back to the civilization that was highly educated, incredibly organized, and socially advanced. 2123 BC, Abraham, grandfather of the Israelites, came from the ancient city of Nippur, and later moved to Ur, both major cities of Sumer. Abraham was led by God to Haran and finally to Canaan, where the promised land was to be inherited by his offspring, the children of Israel. 2023 BC, Abraham's son Isaac is born, Genesis 21 and 5. 2000 BC, Babylon flourishes in the land of Sumer or Shinar. Babylon and had canals or canals to irrigate the land, indoor toilets, a city sewage system, a public restrooms and baths, and a city postal system with baked clay letters and with baked clay letters and envelopes. Babylon had a judicial system where judges wore black robes such as they do today. Then they began to fall into disgrace, but continued to rule through fiction until they were destroyed. They had a system of commerce that included coin money and bank receipts, title, seals, and signatures. Merchant law evolved into Roman law, then into civil law, later becoming the maritime law of today. 1963 BC. Jacob is born to become Israel, Genesis 25 and 26. 1890 BC, Jacob's son Joseph is sold into Egyptian slavery, Genesis 37 and 2. 1833 BC, the Israelites flee to in Egypt because of the famine, Genesis 15, 13, 47, and 8. 1513 BC, the Israelites are enslaved in Egypt and Moses is born. 1433 BC, the Exodus. Moses leads the Israelites out of Egypt through the Red Sea into the wilderness. 1432 BC, God gives Moses the Ten Commandments for the Israelites. Exodus 20. 1393 BC, the Israelites reach the Promised Land and Moses dies. 1034 BC, Solomon begins building a temple at Jerusalem, 1 Kings 6 and 1. 607 BC, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, captures the Israelites and takes them to Babylon in Sumer, now called Iraq. 539 BC, the Medo-Persian Cyrus the Great conquers Babylon and allows some of the Israelites to go back to their homeland and rebuild the temple that Nebuchadnezzar had destroyed. 537 BC, the Assyrians hire counselors or attorneys to frustrate the Israelites in building the temple, weakening their hands, Ezra 4 and 5. And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose, Ezra 4 and 5. 525 BC, Alexander the Great captures Babylon from the Medes and releases the remnant of Israel back to their original homeland. 400 BC, the Hebrew language disappears as a useful language and the Israelites become scattered by repeated captures and enslavements by Assyria, hence the lost tribes of Israel. Many believe remnants of Israelite tribes wandered to Northern Europe and carried the biblical laws with them. Many think that America and Great Britain constitute the regathering of the lost tribes of Israel. Ephraim and Manasseh, Joseph's son. 361 BC, Julian the Apostate, Flavius Julianus, or Flavius Julianus, begins his reign as emperor of Rome and seizes Babylon from Assyria, adopting Babylon law, civil and maritime law to Roman law. 363 BC, Julian the Apostate reduces taxes by reducing court expenditures and eliminating corruption. He is killed in a battle with Persian. 200 BC, two Roman emperors are assassinated for passing laws against usury. 133 BC, Babylonian priests turn over the priesthood to the Roman priests in Pergamus in Middle East Turkey, the future site of the seven churches of Revelation, where Pergamus is referred to as Satan's seat or throne. Babylon is destroyed, but the Babylonian system remains even to this day. 44 BC, Brutus assassinates Emperor Julius Caesar for minting coins to make money plentiful by opposing the money changers, the merchants' bank. 31 BC, Jesus Christ chases the money changers, the merchants' bank, out of the temple, and 3 days later is charged with blasphemy by the Pharisees, the merchant lawyers, and is crucified. The Roman priesthood later moves from Pergamus to Rome. From the beginning of America, the Bible was and is the foundation of American law. The Bible is the basis of all real law on the planet. Prior to the 8th century, the Anglo-Saxon Europeans practiced most of the principles of the Bible that were precepts of the laws of the people's law, a system designed to protect and preserve the unalienable rights of the people and provide a balanced, limited form of government. As one of the founders in Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson discovered Anglo-Saxon institutions were almost identical to the ancient institutions of Israel. The oldest system of representative government known to man. 1000, year 1000. Goldsmiths as money changers, the merchants' banks receive gold deposits and loans out more receipts than they have in gold in reserve. Hence, fractional reserve banking is born. Henry I. So basically what that means is they hold people's gold, and then they give receipts out for the gold, but then they start loaning out gold by receipts or whatever, which starts the fraction, because then they're loaning out more than they actually have in holding, whatever. Yeah, they're IOUs. So that's when the fractional reserve banking is born. 1100, year 1100, Henry I takes the money power away from the money changers and establishes the tally stick system, which lasts nearly 500 years. 1066, the Normans under William the Conqueror subjugate the English people and establish the royal dynasty that occupies the throne of England today. The Normans impose a system of rulership, law, and destroys their rights and confiscates much of their land, inflicting a system of cruel oppression that eventually becomes impossible to endure. Year 1215. Because King John was one of the most cruel and ruthless of the Norman kings, the barons unite and force him to sign the Magna Carta, which is a large charter, at Runnymede, England, in June 15th, 1215, under the threat of being beheaded. The Magna Carta returned to the people many of the rights that the conquerors had stolen from them, and acknowledged that the king himself is subject to the Magna Carta law. The Magna Carta refers not only to the rights of the barons, but makes frequent reference to the rights of English freemen. The American founders consider themselves freemen and invoke the Magna Carta, a covenant on the part of the king and his heirs, so that their rights will be respected as well. The Magna Carta is one of the foundations of American law. Parliament, a formal conference for the discussion of public affairs, a council of states in early medieval England, an assemblage of the nobility, clergy, and commons called together by British sovereigns as a supreme legislative body in the United Kingdom, a similar assemblage in another kingdom or state. I got like 2 more pages to read in this chapter, so it's probably gonna take us another 10 minutes. You guys can hang around.
Yes, Mother.
Okay, cool. Parliament means a group of people who believe themselves to be superior by their own authority, making law in comfort and seclusion, without recourse or responsibility to control the common people whom they consider to be of inferior quality and worthy of little regard. So-called aristocrats do not want to communicate at the common level because it would endanger their self-appointed superior status as the elite. The foundations of parliamentary government begin to develop around 1265, and this gradually developed into a legislative voice to represent the desires of the people. It also provided a bargaining tool to regain some of the lost powers of the people and to limit the tyrannical powers of the king, and to persuade the people not to resist the powers of the king. The parliament retained the right to have no taxation without the approval of the people's representatives. They also established the principle that there would be no laws imposed on the people that had not been first fully approved by the parliament. Finally, the parliament secured the right to impeach abusive officers of the king whenever it was shown that they had violated the law in exercise of high office. A legislative form is developed thereby. Year 1500. Henry VII strengthens the law against usury, which infuriates the money changers, the merchants' banks. Julius Caesar conquers England, paving the way in England for the Roman Catholic Church, which excommunicates the king for beheading his wife. The succeeding king, drives the Roman Catholic Church out of England and institutes the Church of England. Year 1600, Queen Elizabeth I controls the money supply and issues her own coin against the wishes of the money changers, the merchants' bank. 1649, Oliver Cromwell is financed by the money changers, the merchants' bank, and has King Charles killed and plunges England into debt from wars and takes over the city of London for his own use. Oliver Cromwell's district called London, just like Congress district called Washington, D.C. Year 1688, the money changers, the merchants' bank, financed William of Orange of the Netherlands to overthrow the Stuart kings and take possession of the English throne for them. 1694, England is financially strapped after 50 years of war in Holland and France. The private Bank of England is formed to establish laws to protect the bank and confirm the Bank of England owned to the crown. The Bank of England replaces the tally stick system with its own money system and takes away the king's powers to control money. 1698, English debt grows from 1,250,000 million pounds to 1,600 million pounds. 16 million pounds within 4 years, an increase of 1,280%. Wow. 1748, Amschel Bauer in Germany opens a goldsmith shop under the sign of Red Shield. Rothschild in German tongue, Rothschild. Amschel Rothschild had 5 sons. During the reign of 2 German kings over England, George I and George II from 1714 to 1760, the Parliament was left relatively on its own more. The government was run almost entirely by the king's prime minister, which meant that he had the other members of parliament serving in his cabinet and could have a relatively free hand in running the government. This gave England a limited monarchy with a parliament system of government that allowed the legislator to exercise unlimited power. This parliament system never rose above this form, nor did its commonwealths, Canada, Australia, and the others that followed this same pattern. As a result, many Europeans began migrating to America to be socially and spiritually free. America, the soil comprising the contiguous 50 states now called the United States of America. As of 1776, America comprised 13 independent colonies. America was at first an English colony where the people elected the delegates of local and provincial assemblies. This first occurred in Virginia in 1619. So that's the end of chapter 3, you guys. We'll pick up on chapter 4 next week. Did anyone have anything they wanted to say about what we just read? What you guys think about all of that? It's very deep. A lot of the information, like I said, is very biblical, as the book just stated itself. A lot of our life and a lot of the way we this country is ran is basically biblical. It has just been interpreted to us wrong, and it's the biblical portion of it that we should have been paying attention to more is more of the politics, the commerce that was actually taking place, and the laws. We got outside of that and really took a lot of what we were taught, like coming up in church and what our parents taught us, and everything in the Bible as face value. And we didn't look, we just took it. It's like basic surface level stuff, imaginary shit that we was taught, period. So what do you guys think? What do you have to say, Grandma?
Hello, Mother.
Yes, Islam.
Islam. It's very deep. I mean, I feel like a lot of the I know for me, I can't speak for anyone else. You know, being in church, you know, and coming into the real truth now, you know, I felt like our time was wasted, you know, because I feel like a lot of those preachers and ministers, they didn't really tell us the truth. They just kind of, like you said, surface level, you know, just to keep bodies in the pews and, you know, money coming in to fill their pockets or whatever. And I just feel like they have led a lot of the congregations, they have led them to the slaughter, because I know for me, I'm angry about it. I'm like, we have sat in these churches and you all have not told us the honest truth. You know, and you know, people walk around here thinking one thing when it's actually something else. And it frustrates me. So, you know, and then they talk about, you know, get into the spirit, but no one taught us that. You know, it's like, okay, we're spiritual before we're in the physical. But I think people have to learn that, because, you know, we base everything off the physical.
That's right.
You know? And that's a problem. And that's how come we can't get to where we need to be as individuals, as families, as a people, because we do not understand the spiritual. And until we get that right, we're gonna be in turmoil. That's just my opinion on it.
Guys, I have an idea.
Yes.
How about we take this on Sundays and make it Sunday service, and we do this live on on YouTube, and we probably can stream it on Facebook too.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, I think we should do that. That'll be cool.
That way people can really like really collaborate and really, be honest about their thoughts and feelings on, things that we should know and haven't really, delved into as a people, because we really got to get it together. We really do. We really do. I think that's a great idea. Oh wow, that'll be so awesome.
Islam.
Islam.
And it's funny that you were like going over like the Bible verses and everything, because I just had this conversation with a friend. I don't think we're friends anymore, but you know what? I'm okay with that, because I was saying to him that a lot of the stuff that a lot of our laws actually came from ancient Kemet. And I said, and then when the Grecians came over, and I said, it did tell you in the Bible that, they mixed the lie, with the truth. And I said, in ancient Kemet, when the Grecians came over and they wanted to learn what the priests knew, because we already had our own way of doing things. Like we learned this in Wednesday class, that we had our own way of governing, which was balanced. We had our own way of, having our, government, our, you know what I mean? And then it got distorted when, the Roman Grecos got a hold of it. And then that's when everything got out of balance. And I said, that's when, they started killing our priests in Kemet, because our priests were like, no, we already have our way of doing things, and how we want to do things is going to benefit everybody. But if we teach you what you want to know, you're going to use that to try to rule the world. And in essence, that's exactly what they did. And after they learned what they learned, they killed the priests and their families anyway, which the Bible did tell you that. They killed the priests. And then they took that knowledge, that sacred knowledge, and then that's when they started doing all these little secret societies. And then that's when they started learning what they learned, basically to use against us, and instead of us, sticking to our ancient practices, they took our stuff, distorted it, got out of the laws of Ma'at, put it in the Bible, made everything man-centered, and then gave it to us as quote unquote the gospel. And then a lot of us in the beginning wasn't going for that, because we knew, but then they had to literally beat it into us until we pretty much, got indoctrinated. Literally, we got indoctrinated, and then they took our history, which was, literally written on the walls. The handwriting was on the wall. They told you that in the Bible too. The handwriting was on the wall, on the walls of Kemet. And then, then they tell us to stay out of Egypt. In the Bible, they always told us, stay out of Egypt, stay out of Egypt. But every time they got into trouble, they ran into Egypt, which didn't make sense to me. And then they, got us away from our ancient practices and our ancient way of governing and doing things, which was the law of Ma'at, was balanced, and then threw us all out of balance. And now we ended up what we have today with, small group of people, the Rothschilds, the Wahlbergs, and all these guys, and the 1% ruling over the other 99. And literally, what our ancestors were afraid of, they're taking what they knew and using it against us and everybody else, And yeah, I think this would be a good way to, at least let people know where our system of government came from. It didn't just start with the Bible and the Romans and stuff. That's where it got distorted.
Right.
But that's not where it started. It got distorted there and then used against everybody around the world, and our ancestors were right. They exactly what they feared that these, Roman Grecos would do, they did, which is why they didn't want to teach them what we know, because they used, basically use it to try to rule the whole world, So yeah, I think it's a good idea, the people need to know that we already had our own way of governing that was balanced.
Right.
Before they got a hold of it and distorted it.
Indeed. So we'll be probably streaming this starting next week. I think we should stream this on you. I'll stream it on my YouTube channel, and we'll stream it on Facebook. And go from there. But I'm know we just had Mother Flora that just showed up. Welcome, Mother. We're actually getting ready to end the Zoom for today. So I will be posting the recording as soon as it downloads. I'll post it in the chat for you all to go over and review. Basically, the last hour of the video is the reading portion of today's session. We did a lot of just talking about, catching up on from our last gathering of book reading and going over some information and coming up with ideas. So definitely want to check out the first half too. But the second half is the reading portion, which is also good. So we're going to be starting to stream this next Sunday as well. I think this will start to attract more people to us, start helping to grow our community. That's going to be great. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to add before I end and close out?
Oh, are you finishing now? When did you start?
Yes, we started at 9 a.m.
Oh my goodness, I forgot. My time here, I was thinking 9 o'clock my time.
It's
That should
okay,
have been
Mother.
7 o'clock my time. So sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought it's 9 o'clock my time. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that.
Oh, no
I
problem.
forgot just starting. Oh, I was so looking forward to today's book reading. I have my book as well. I ordered it and I got it. Yeah.
Which book are you reading? Are you talking about?
Correct Your Political Status.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one where I'm gonna go through these documents and see where we can get started at with that, and then we'll probably have to add like a class, an extra class during the week where we can come together to start going through these documents and putting our brainstorming on that. That's going to be done in a private whatever, but we actually started reading today. I know I'm giving you guys a list along a lot of books to get, but we started the New Beginning study course.
Okay.
David E. Robinson. So if you have that one, you can just listen to the last hour of the video and
Okay.
read along with it if you have the book or you just listen in. We read the first 3 chapters. Pick up on chapter 4 next week.
Of the New Beginnings.
Yes, the new beginning study course. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
No problem. I'm sorry you got mixed up with the time. It's okay. Don't feel bad. I'll make sure I put the recording in chat as soon as it downloads.
Yeah, I'll listen to the recording.
Okay. Well, that completes our book reading club meeting for today, you guys. Also, make sure to attend Mother Me. I'll put the link and all of that in the chat as well as soon as I get off of here. To Mother Mia's Grow, Show, and Know. We want to be in attendance for that. She has a lot of information she's gathered for this week's gathering. So
Is it today for her the grow
yes, that's today at 2 p.m.
Yeah, okay.
So it'll be 12 p.m. your time, I believe. You're 2 hours behind us.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be able to attend today, but because usually it clashes with another class that I have on Sunday, but today I don't have that class.
Okay.
So I can attend.
Okay.
Is it possible to get the past recordings for the past classes?
Mother Mia, I was just providing the link and forwarding the emails from the link that Amara was sending me, but is it possible if I give you administrative inside the chat, that you could just put your invite inside the chat on a weekly basis, and then also put the recordings in there if you get them?
Now I know Mother Amara, she sends out the recordings and she sends out the invitations.
Yes, I get
Now,
invitations from her. I get the invitations from her.
But not the
okay.
recordings?
No, not the recordings.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let her know because I don't know if she just does it for the people who show up to class, but I'm gonna, because I gotta get in touch with her today anyway and see if she can, you know, send out the recording to anybody who wants it. Yeah, and today I'm gonna be recapping some things. I don't know if you were there like over the last few days, but I've been basically going over stuff that's antiviral, anti-parasitic, chelating heavy metals out of your body. And I got a recipe. So if anybody shows up today, please have a paper and a pencil. I'm also gonna finish typing it up so I can send that out, or Mother Amara, I can send it to her and then she can send it out to everybody. Because I know in New York, Cuomo, thank God they're getting down on him, but he was talking about actually taking people in New York and putting them in cars and taking them places.
What?
Yeah, he was like, he
What?
literally like that. He was like, we need to go to people's houses, knock on their doors, and like literally kidnap people. He was talking about taking people out of their homes against their will and taking them someplace to get the venom. Yeah,
They can't force people to do that. These people
They
are
can't
so
do. They
evil.
can't.
they are corrupt, and that's why right now, what's happening in New York is you'll hear a lot because people have been lining up at the governor's office, and he's been hiding. They're trying to get him for, you know, like the sexual harassment things. That's not really, they're saying quote unquote, because they don't want to talk about the real reason why they're going after him. New Yorkers are going after him because he was sending people that, you know, he knew had COVID, taking them out of the hospital and putting them into nursing homes, pretty much a walking vector. He kept, and then over like 1,500 people died because he did that of COVID, like in the nursing homes. And then now he's like, you know,
tell
yeah,
y'all, they definitely pushing the fear out. Because when I went to the hospital the other day, y'all, it was crazy. I thought I was in a movie or something. I'm not gonna lie.
and it's crazy. Yeah. And then he was like, okay, we've tried. And what did he say? Oh, we've tried to, you know, be nice. We tried to, you know, not coerce. I forgot what word he used. But now he's like, but now we got to get tough.
That's
now,
what I was saying. People not paying attention to the words that they're using, because he said that we have to go out there and convince people into getting the shot. So I'm like, well, if you got to convince me, then you wasting your time at the end of the day.
You wasting your time. Like, why you got to convince me if this was so good? Why? And then they're talking about, they already got boosters. So now they're talking about giving people boosters every 4 months. Nobody knows what's in these, but yes. Oh, it's crazy. Nobody knows what's in these boosters. It's still not FDA approved. Yeah, Cuomo actually said out of his own mouth that he wants to start dragging people out of that house.
Did you guys hear about the ship that everybody on the ship was? Let me pull it up. I just screenshot it.
Oh my God. They just test subjects. All the people who took the vaccines just test.
Yeah, Carnival cruise ship was every guest and staff was vaccinated, but everybody
got it.
Sick.
Yep.
They end up catching the COVID anyway.
Yes, everybody on the ship is sick.
They got the double vaccines, and they all showed, not only did they show their vaccine passports, they got a rapid test before they went on the ship. All of them. So they got the 2 vaccines and the rapid test before they got on the ship, and all 2,000 of them got it.
What?
So what is that saying? What is that saying?
Exactly.
It's either in the
vaccine.
Right.
So how did y'all hear about that story? Because I didn't hear about that.
I just saw it this morning.
It was on the news. I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it a couple of weeks ago. It was actually on, I think it was Yahoo News, when it shows up on my feed in the morning. It was on Yahoo News.
Oh my God.
2,000 people got it. Yeah.
Well, you know, they
So-
also saying that the flu shot can they trying to push this narrative now, saying the flu shot can help with to prevent COVID. So I told my mom yesterday, I was like, they're gonna try to
sneak it in
mix
there.
those two vaccines and
Mhm.
try to give it to people. Just I was like, oh my goodness.
When
I
I
didn't
was
take
at
the
the
flu shot.
hospital, the other day, they kept when they taking you in, intake or whatever, they're asking you people that's coming in there, have you had the vaccine? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I asked them, why are you guys asking us this? What is the purpose of you asking me? They don't even really know, but I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, why y'all asking me them? If I had the vaccine or not, what difference do that make?
Right.
So
Right.
she
I'm
just
here
basically
for
told me, well,
specific.
this is just proper normal procedure and all this bull crap that they want to try to say now.
Mhm. And it's like, no, let's go on to the next question because you don't
Right.
need to know that.
Right.
Let's go on to the next question. And here's the thing. My sister is a biologist, okay? And here's how indoctrinated she is. She
Mm.
called
Oh,
me
Lord.
and first, yeah, and this is the sad part because she got her venom. And I said to her, you're a biologist. It would be so easy for you to take one of these things and look under your microscope to see what's there. Why did you not do that? And why did you take it? You know, and she never gave me an answer. And then she says to me on Wednesday, oh, you know, I got a stuffy nose. I can't smell anything. I said, well, that sounds like a sinus thing. You know, it sounds like allergies, really. And so she's convinced, oh, you know, I'm going to go get a test. And I said, are you having trouble breathing? Because I said, COVID is a SARS.
They're also asking if you had been tested in the last 2 weeks as well. So it's something with that. It's something with all of that.
Well, and this is what I said to her. I said, the difference between that is SARS is a respiratory, it affects your lungs. And I said, can you breathe from your lungs? She's like, yeah. So I said, then you don't need to go get a test. Go take some Allegra, you'll be fine. No.
Right.
So she decides that she wants to go in and she wants to get tested. And I said, why are you getting tested for COVID when you already got the vaccine? Shouldn't you already be okay? Nope.
Right.
So she goes, gets tested, let them stick that thing up her nose. My sister's a biologist. That goes to show you she's an educated idiot.
Right.
So
that part.
then of course, what do you think they say? Oh, you got COVID. And I'm like, excuse my language, but I'm like, I told my sister, you're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. I'm like, and you're a biologist. Like, how? It's amazing to me. I'm like, how can you be my sister? I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, you know, I have a daughter who is an attorney. She doesn't listen to me. She tells me with pride that she's got the venom. I was like, of all the things I've told you, of all the things I have trained you with, how could you do that?
How can you do it? My sister is a biologist. She studies bacteria and viruses for a living. This is her job. And I'm like, so when it came to this one thing, you just totally put the blinders on and not even bother about looking. I said, do you even know what's in it? And then Fauci said out of his own mouth, people who got the venom have to wear masks so they don't infect people who didn't get it. In other words, you guys, in his own words.
So basically he's saying that all the people who took the vaccine, they're gonna be walking infections to everybody else.
They are walking infections, yes.
Oh
yes.
Lord.
Yes. And the United States Attorney General said that was that the guy, the Attorney General, the one
Department of Justice?
No, the one that's ahead of all the medical say so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he used to be Sierra Coop, but yeah. So now he said the same thing a couple of days later out of his mouth. People who got the infection needs to wear a mask so they don't infect people who didn't get it. So I said, then you guys are the ones that are infected. And she had the nerve to come out of her mouth talking about, when are you going to come and visit me? I'm not, just in case you start shedding, I'm out. No. No.
Well, you know what? I had a divination done, and I was told don't allow any family members to come and visit you.
Mm.
And I cannot reckon because they've all gotten the venom.
Right,
So
right.
I was seriously warned. Said they're gonna want him to come and visit you, but you can't allow them to come at this time.
Mm.
Said don't allow anyone to come and visit you at this time. So I
Yeah,
said,
Wow.
come to the class, because I have like I said, when I was in those, other chat rooms, the guy dropped some stuff and I was right in and I got the recipe and I'm gonna give it to you guys. But I'm gonna tell you, like, I know the people who they don't even know, because Fauci is not sharing what's in those vaccines. And I said, it's because of the spike proteins that's in these things that can get onto people, that just from a hug, just from, not even the close hug, just from, shaking hands or hugging or whatever, that they can pass that crap on to you.
Right.
And there've been stories of people who didn't get the shot, but getting all these symptoms and getting sick. So
Yeah, because
no,
earlier this year they were saying pregnant women was starting to pregnant women that were not vaccinated but were around people that were vaccinated were, I guess, starting to have like go into labor
miscarriages.
early and miscarriages
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
some women that were around the vaccinated people, their periods started coming early or some crap
Yep,
like
or
that.
heavier,
Or heavier, yeah.
well, my daughter had a baby in March, and then she said to me, just recently, she got back her period. She said, well, it's early, shouldn't have been. I didn't say anything.
Mm.
I guess it's because at that time she had not been vaccinated.
Wow.
And she's telling me, oh, I guess because people around her have been. And I think her husband had already gotten the vaccine too.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I'm just praying for that baby.
Oh my Lord.
Breastfeeding?
Praying for that baby. Oh my goodness.
Is she nursing?
Come to
Yeah,
the
she's
class.
nursing the baby.
Oh my God.
Lord. Oh no, come to the class.
Oh.
Hopefully the stuff I'm gonna give you is the solution. Come to the class. Come to the class.
Okay. I will
Well,
be
they also said the people who took the vaccine that they gonna be in the next couple of years, they gonna be dropping like flies.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause,
that's what I'm told.
I put the video a couple of months ago when Janice from Unpacked, she read a letter from the CEO. Well, he had resigned, but he put a letter out before he resigned, basically talking about he apologizes, but everybody who took the vaccine basically got a 2-year life expectancy if you haven't already died.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Well, I said to myself, if that comes true, I'll probably be burying lots of family members. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to think about that.
Me neither.
Wow.
Here's the thing. If they say it's from the vaccine, insurance companies won't even pay you.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, because the insurance companies and they went in agreement with these with the pharmaceutical companies. They all had an agreement with each other that they won't be sued or they won't pay out. They won't do anything. The insurance company and the pharmaceutical companies was in agreement with each other.
Well, I work for an insurance company, and what they said was my insurance company, I know, is not in agreement with it, but from the point of this is all still experimental.
Right, exactly.
That's where my insurance coming from. So my insurance company said, if you agree to participate in this experimental, and it's not even a treatment, it's just you even if you have no symptoms, you're agreeing to put stuff in your body and you don't even know what it is. We are not going to be held liable for your decision to put an unknown, untested stuff into your body. So we're not going to pay you. So then what happens is that you got to lie and say, well, they didn't die from that. They died from something else in order to get paid, you know? So that's the insurance company giving people a heads up. Like, look, if you say it's from this, it's experimental, so we can't pay you. If it's something else, then yeah, we can pay you, you know? So
Yeah.
now we having people saying, okay, well, no, it's a heart attack or it's a brain aneurysm. They're not going to say what caused it, but it's like, so now they're saying, okay, and that kind of takes the onus away from all of these other companies saying, oh, see, they didn't die from that. They died from aneurysm. They died from a heart attack. I'm like, no, but what brought it on? What caused
Right.
it?
Yeah.
What caused it?
Wow. Well, you know, they
Yeah.
also they don't know what later on down the line, what are the true effects of people taking a vaccine? Because even when with the chicken pox, you know, later on, you know, now people are coming up with shingles and all this other stuff. So
Right.
Yeah,
people
all
gotta
the
look at that too.
immunizations, I think all the immunizations that we received over the years when we were young was basically to dumb us down.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
most definitely.
Yeah.
I
And then
agree.
the thing, I think also because some of these people are not dying straight away, they
Mhm.
make it so that they don't die straight away, so that they won't say it's because of the vaccine. So
Right.
those who are going to die in 2 years' time, they won't say it's because of the vaccine. They will say something else.
Right.
Oh,
And if I could find it for you guys, I'm gonna, you know, give it to Mother Shea Marie, where there's this woman who actually called Moderna, and they had one, and the woman taped the call
Mhm.
because she called Moderna like 24 hours after she got the shot, and she started having all these symptoms. She went to the doctor. Her doctor was like, okay, no, you didn't have any of these symptoms. You was healthy as an ox. Now all of a sudden you got these problems, and it came after you took the shot. So she called Moderna and say, listen, can you let me know, you know, have you had any incidents of, you know, like adverse reactions? And they was like, yeah. And as she started questioning them, he pretty much said, well, yeah, it is experimental. And then so the woman was like, so we're the test subjects? And the guy was like, oh, I wouldn't put it that way, but, and she's recording him. So he's basically saying, yes, you guys are the test subjects. You're the test subject. And that's why before they rolled out with these vaccines, each and every single one of these companies put up a hedge that says we cannot be sued we can't be sued. And they all had that listed in one of their prerequisites before getting the shots, and people don't know that. So they already protected themselves. So
Right.
now you've got this group called frontline doctors, and frontline doctors are now class action lawsuit. So even though we can't sue them, the doctors
The
are.
doctors.
And I guess there's 15,000 doctors now in this lawsuit, and they are suing these companies for crimes against humanity. Because all these doctors was like, no, my patients were my patients didn't have these issues. And now all of a sudden, I'm going to be treating them for the rest of their lives because they took this here vaccine that you guys swore out was safe and pushing people to get. So yeah, there's a lot, and they're not telling you this on the mainstream media.
No,
There's
they
a
not.
lot of lawsuits. There's a lot of, and frontline doctors are the ones that I know about, like 15,000.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. Yeah, you are right about that.
Well, you remember Trump said, he said they not coming for me. He said they coming for you.
Yeah,
and they coming for us with a vengeance. They coming hard. They pushing because we in a free fall state. We going fast. Like we're really in a downward spiral. Like really fast.
Well, you know, that's why, and a lot of people's like, why is Trump endorsing the vaccine? And basically, in the beginning, if he endorses it, well, and what happened, right, to expose them, right, and basically saying, and that's why he signed the things, an executive order making it optional instead of mandatory. He says because had they got a hold of the FDA first, and the FDA put their stamp of approval on it because he thinks they're perfect too, then it would have been mandatory. Then they would have been able to make people get it. So he had to step out in front, and he's like, you know what? This is the lesser of two evils. if they mandate it, then everybody's gonna have to get it. But if I step out in front and say, okay, this is optional, then, you know, they'll get it on their own free will. People are gonna get it. I can't stop them, but at least the people who don't want it, I give them a way out, you know, and that's the only way he could have did it, because people are gonna be sheep and they're gonna do what they want to do anyway, and there's nothing that you can do about that, you know. So that's why he did what he did, you know. So you know, he was trying his best to try to expose them at the same time. And everything that's done in the dark is being brought to light. So now, you know, again, individual people can't sue these companies, but the doctors can, and they are. So
it's unfortunate that we're gonna have to end up burying family members and friends. I'm
yeah,
like, ooh.
Well,
yeah.
I was supposed to go visit my daughter. I was supposed to be there even before she had the baby, but I didn't want to take the test. So I wanted to get my declaration and proclamation completed before I travel, so that I can travel without taking any of these shots. Now, I don't think I want to be there, because, you know, I don't think I want to expose myself to to the venoms that they have taken.
Right. You're in Belize, right, Mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I appreciate this platform, because you all are sharing a lot of information, and it's really helping me.
I'm gonna show you guys a couple of things this afternoon. Even though I'm gonna go over some foods that we need to be eating and taking, I'm also gonna be going over like minerals and stuff that we should be taking beforehand. And I'm also gonna go. This concoction is called mud, but the mud is the second part of it, and the mud is what you use. I'll go over everything. So, Mother, if you join me this afternoon, I'm going to give you a couple of solutions that you can use before going down and visiting.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sorry I've been missing a lot of the lives, but I have so much on God I have to take care of. I'm in the process of moving. I'm trying to find somewhere to stay, and it's hard to find a place here. So I'm thinking about getting me an RV, just living in that. So at least it'll cut my bills in half. So I got a lot going on.
Oh, look, I was thinking about a tiny house, and I'm still thinking about it. I would love to have a tiny house. Oh my God, I would love it.
Well, you know, that here in Belize, a lot of the things that's because I'm vegan, and so there's a super store that sells a bit some of the things that I will buy. But I haven't been seeing, there was one particular thing I buy, I haven't been seeing it. And then they are all kind of, I guess they're finished now. Their supply is finished and it's empty on the shelf. And
they sell food shortages coming.
Yeah, so well, I've been storing food. So I remember the last time I went, there were only a couple of bags of what I wanted there. I just took the last two. I said, because so when I went back there on Friday, there was nothing left.
Oh, wow.
So I said, it's already happening.
Yeah.
Mother, can you get a hold of just regular flour?
Well, I don't even use regular flour. I use teff flour. I use quinoa. I use oat flour. So I've been storing those.
Because you can use wash flour method to make yourself your vegan meats. And that's what I use. And I can also, if you want, I can also, because I've also been using like, what do you call that? Like lion's mane. And a lot of people don't know how to cook it. And I can show people how to cook it to actually make it taste like steak. And I also do seitan, S-E-I-T-A-N, chicken. And beef. So because I'm not a vegan but vegetarian, and those are the things that I use. So basically when they say there's a meat shortage or whatever shortage, as long as you can get yourself some flour, maybe.
Yeah, well, I
quick
use
class.
mushrooms in my, I use mushrooms.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't even I use I eat like I eat steamed plantain, and I use
Mhm.
wild rice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I also buy what do you call it? Asian grains spaghetti.
Mhm.
There's Asian grain spaghetti, there's whole grain spaghetti,
Mhm.
and those are the ones that I buy. So, I know how to make things. And then I have squash. There's quite a few fruits and vegetables. So
Mhm.
I'm also training myself to eat raw. So
Right.
raw is good. Raw is good. I mean, before I used to have like 20%, 80% cook, but I'm working on making it 50% of each side of cooked and raw.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just have to be creative with your cooking.
And that was one of the things I started showing people is how to grow food in small spaces, because again, I haven't been to the produce department in over a year. I don't go shopping at the supermarkets anymore because I don't need to. But again, I can
yeah. I need to know. I need to, because I live in an apartment, and because I just moved to Belize, I have problems. I don't see soil wherever I go. But then after that, they've told me where to get stuff. So I'm thinking, even if I can do hydroponic,
right.
growing, that would be great.
Right.
But I want to start some, because I have a balcony that the sun is there all the time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I do hydroponic, but I do sprouts, I do microgreens, and I also do hydroponically and with grow mats. So if you want, I can kind of go over that a little bit, where you can, like, even if you have, I've shown people how to grow stuff, even if you have nothing but paper towels. Showing people how to grow stuff on paper towels. So
yeah,
if I got a medium, I will grow anything. I can grow anything. So again, I haven't been over a year. So, if you want, if you come, I can just kind of go over it quickly. After I tell people what I got to tell them, bring a paper and a pencil and be ready to write stuff down. You're going to want to know.
Oh, I'm always writing stuff down. So
okay.
I always come prepared. So yeah.
Yes, this is going to be a class that I want, and even if people already got the venom, this is going to help them as well. Okay, so hopefully, we can try to heal some of our people before.
Exactly. I've been trying to find out things that I can, knowledge about how we can help our people that are taking the venom.
Yeah, like I said, I go into rooms and I'm like a little fly on the wall and I listen. Like I said, they come into our spaces and they listen to us. So it's only fair it's turn around, it's fair play. I go in their spaces too and I listen to what they're saying, and I go into like a lot of, like military.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing when I was in Canada. I go to a lot of things, and when I go, I'm always the only, dark-skinned person there. I don't care. I sit and listen, get the information, because they do the same. I mean, they do the same to us. In fact, the information they're giving is our information.
So I'll be going over that.
People are asleep. Our people are asleep. In Canada, a lot of our people are in churches. So
we're doing this on Sunday. We're trying to save their lives while they're praying to this whatever. We're gonna try to help them as much as we can. And in fact, I'm gonna get ready to go soon because I got a lot to type up and a lot to give to you guys. So I'm gonna jump off in a few minutes so I can, finish up what I got so I can present it to you guys this afternoon.
Well, thank you, Mother, for all the information. Mother. Really appreciate it.
See you soon.
Yes, we definitely appreciate you. I'm going to grab the link right now. I'm posting it in the chat, everyone. But today was a great meeting.
It was.
It was.
We're gonna continue these meetings and be consistent with them and have great things in store, you all. So
Yes,
that being said,
it's gonna be good. Thank you, Mother. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
this platform.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate everything.
no
That's
I
problem.
guess we'll see y'all in a couple of hours.
Absolutely. See you all later. Love
Bring
you
a paper
all.
and pencil. Much love,
will.
everyone.
Good day. Yeah.
Love.
Love.
Bye.
Bye.